Across many cities, something awful has happened. Streets are filled with dead bodies and people have built memorials to remember the lost. A monkey climbs into a taxi and gives a pen to a man in exchange for a cracker. The man writes a message on a wall. Beth, I'm alive. Come home. Why? Suddenly, a damaged helicopter crashes from a tall building, almost hitting him. The day before, that same man, Yorick, is seen practicing a magic escape trick. He's hanging upside down in a straitjacket, but fails and falls. A boy watching tells him it's their last lesson because his dad won't pay anymore. Not long after, Yorick's landlord shows up asking for rent. In Washington, D.C., Congresswoman Jennifer Brown, Yorick's mother, walks into a government building surrounded by her team. She speaks confidently at a press event. In Brooklyn, Yorick meets his sister Hero outside a support group. He asks her for money to buy an engagement ring for his girlfriend, Beth. Hero laughs at his magician dreams but gives him $20.
I'm an escape artist.
Jesus, Yorick. Beth loves you.
In Oklahoma, Agent 355 works with a man selling a bomb. He won't let her meet the buyers, claiming they wouldn't trust a bomb made by a black woman. While he's busy, she steps out and sets off the bomb using her phone. The house explodes. She walks past a dead deer in the woods. Soon, a black car arrives. A man inside praises her and offers a better job.
Consider it a promotion for a job well done.
At the White House, aide Nora deals with a problem. Jennifer Brown had called the president sexist on TV. The president forces Nora to shoot at a target, which clearly makes her uncomfortable. The president's daughter, Kimberly, gives a talk about her book on cancel culture. Later at her hotel, her kids find a dead mouse. She vents to her husband about Jennifer's comments. Later, Jennifer and Kimberly attend a dinner party. The president pulls Jennifer aside, asking her to work with him after the Oklahoma bombing. She refuses, not trusting his ways.
Call me sexist.
I was asked, I answered.
Meanwhile, Hero and her secret boyfriend, who's also her co-worker, talk inside an ambulance. He says he told his partner about them, but things are still messy. That night, Yorick makes grilled cheese for Beth. She talks about her stressful classes. Yorick suggests moving to Australia with her, but she says he should stay and work on his magic. He proposes with a ring, but Beth says she feels he might hold her back. They argue. As their monkey screeches, Beth storms out. Back in Oklahoma, Agent 355 begins her next mission under a new name, now as a Secret Service agent. In D.C., Jennifer's assistant goes on a date, but nearby animals act strangely. At the party, Jennifer and Kimberly argue. Jennifer later meets her estranged husband, and they discuss Yorick's money troubles. It leads to a talk about divorce. At the dinner, the president gives a speech while Jennifer quietly watches. That night, Nora returns home tired. Her husband comforts her, but one of their kids screams. He goes to check. In an ambulance, Hero finds messages from her boyfriend's wife. Angry, she hits him with an oxygen tank, badly hurting him.
No.
The next morning, Agent 355 arrives in D.C. Jennifer takes her seat for a meeting. At home, Nora cuts her hand while making lunch. Hero, still inside the blood-covered ambulance, sees a cop approach. Soon he's dead, lying beside a lifeless dog. During the government meeting, the president starts bleeding and collapses. All around, men begin dying. Nora finds her husband and sons dead. The city turns to panic. A girl watches from a wrecked car, her father dead beside her. News comes in, Air Force Two has crashed. Jennifer leads her team to safety. Meanwhile, Yorick is asleep. His monkey wakes him by throwing food. Beth is gone. His phone won't work. Then he hears loud screams and explosions. He walks to the window, staring out in shock at a world that's suddenly changed. Confusion and fear spread quickly as lifeless bodies lie everywhere. Agent 355 stays close to Congresswoman Jennifer Brown, while people around them wear gas masks, unsure of what might happen next. Needing a break, 355 slips into a bathroom and uses a hidden communication device inside a lipstick. 8 days later, snow falls quietly over a neighborhood. Agent 355 walks into a FedEx store, uses a key to unlock a secret door, and finds dead men still sitting at desks. She tries an old radio to reach others, but no one answers. In a back room, she opens a box, puts on a necklace, and finds an envelope that says, "Not yet." Inside is a paper with an address. In Washington, crowds push at the White House gates. Inside the Pentagon, a group of women from the remaining government watches nervously. Agent 355 privately tells Jennifer that she's not Secret Service, but part of a secret task force. She admits there was a threat against the president, but she wasn't given full details. She tells Jennifer she can call her Sarah now. As protesters break into the White House, Jennifer gathers everyone and gives a calm but firm speech about the hard path ahead. 62 days later, Yorick gets ready to go outside. He wears a gas mask and puts his monkey, ampersand, in a crate. At the Pentagon, President Brown hears reports about power and an upcoming New York evacuation. Agent 355 mentions Hero might have escaped. Brown tells her to find her. Jennifer's speech is broadcast at a FEMA shelter. Hero, now there, comforts a grieving woman and quietly takes a pair of pliers. She's staying with Sam, her transgender friend. He wants her to reconnect with her mother, hoping it might help them get support.
Right now. Find a government rep and tell them who you are.
Sam?
At the same time, Agent 355 boards a helicopter to start the search. At the Pentagon, Kimberly Cunningham dresses, while her mother, the former First Lady, sits silently, overwhelmed with grief. Kimberly meets with President Brown, asking her to protect a sperm bank for the future. But Brown focuses on saving lives now. Yorick, still searching for Beth, breaks into a building and leaves more messages. He finds old photos, but then ampersand runs into a dark, flooded subway. Yorick follows, wading through water and dead bodies. Hero returns to the ambulance where she had killed her coworker. She finds a pacifier in his clothes, places it on his chest, takes his wallet, and walks away. At a dry cleaner's, Yorick changes into clean clothes, but the women there are shocked to see a man alive.
Why aren't you dead?
That is a great question, and I wish I knew. Look.
At first, they threaten him, but change their minds when he breaks down. They give him clothes, and he warns them to leave the city before it's sealed. They choose to stay. As thanks, Yorick leaves a candy bar. Back at the shelter, Hero gives the grieving woman a license belonging to the man who died. The woman is touched to finally know the truth. In a subway station, Yorick watches an old video of Beth laughing about him getting a monkey instead of a cat. Ampersand returns, and Yorick hugs him. They go to Hero's place, but it's empty. Yorick admits he's out of ideas. Meanwhile, Hero returns to the shelter and finds Sam. He says the others left and took supplies, including the last of his testosterone. He shares how hard it's been being treated differently. Hero comforts him.
You hate everyone.
I don't hate you.
Sam insists they find her mother. Hero agrees. At the Pentagon gates, Nora Brown tries to enter, but guards block her. With her daughter, she walks through the protest. Inside, Marla visits President Brown. She wants to leave and bury her son. Jennifer says there aren't enough guards. They talk about their daughters. Marla says she always feared for her daughter, never her son until now. She says she'll walk if she must. At Hero's apartment, Yorick hears a sound and panics, but it's Agent 355. She's tracked him down. They board a helicopter back to the Pentagon. Yorick sees his mother and they hug, both in tears.
Where are you?
From a distance, two military pilots watch and receive orders to quietly follow Agent 355. Nora Brady and her daughter walk through the quiet streets of Washington, D.C., heading back to the house where they've been staying since being turned away from the Pentagon. When they arrive, Nora tells the three women living there that the government refused to help. The women explain they haven't found more food either, and that once the snow melts, their water will run out. Because of the limited supplies, they tell Nora and her daughter they can't stay. Inside the Pentagon, Agent 355 watches the two pilots who helped bring Yorick from New York. They talk about how unbelievable it is that the president's son survived. Agent 355 reminds them that Yorick must stay a secret. Yorick wakes beside his mother and realizes ampersand is gone. He steps into the hallway and finds the monkey running off. He chases him. Nearby, Marla, the former First Lady, sees shadows in the hallway and follows. The pilots start asking questions, but Agent 355 tells them to stay calm. The president needs her. President Brown tells Agent 355 that Yorick has wandered off. He finds a memorial wall full of photos of the dead, including one of himself. Then he enters a room filled with bodies, where he finds ampersand. Marla sees him and is sure of what she saw.
Man, what are you doing in here?
When Brown and Agent 355 arrive, they try to convince her she imagined it. Agent 355 sees Yorick hiding under a desk but keeps quiet. Later, Yorick asks his mom how many men have been found. She says none with a Y chromosome. He tells her he couldn't find Hero. She also shares that Yorick's father's body was found in a hotel. Yorick still hopes Beth is alive, even though there was a subway crash near her place. Agent 355 tells President Brown about the pilots and a situation in Russia. Yorick asks what happened. At Nora's house, her daughter sees the other women have left. Nora tells her they left to survive on their own. Angry, she smashes a flower pot. At the Pentagon, Yorick eats spaghetti while Agent 355 explains that some Russian leaders claim male politicians survived. Yorick asks why the bodies in the building haven't been moved. She says their focus is on helping those still alive. Yorick says he was named after a character from Hamlet, chosen by his father. President Brown deals with issues and speaks with Kimberly Cunningham. Yorick gets sick from eating too much. Later, Brown tells him they need a scientist to understand why he and Ampersand are still alive. Agent 355 warns that Yorick must stay hidden. In Tel Aviv, a woman named Regina wakes up in a medical tent, confused. A doctor explains that a worldwide event killed all men. Regina realizes she may now be the legal U.S. president. Agent 355 searches for a geneticist named Dr. Mann. Kimberly approaches her and tries to talk. 355 says it was her first day when everything collapsed. Kimberly later tells a friend she feels ignored by the new government. Her friend feels out of place, but Kimberly encourages her. At Nora's real home, Nora and her daughter go through old things. Her daughter finds the bodies of her father and siblings. As she tries to chase away crows, she cuts herself. Nora rushes out, scared she might get sick. The girl doesn't want to leave the bodies behind. President Brown and her team decide to find Dr. Mann to help solve Yorick's mystery. Though Mann once worked with the Saudis, she's their best chance. Brown tells Yorick privately that they need his help. Yorick says he'll do it only if she helps him find Beth. He feels he's not the right person for such a big job and just wants things to go back to normal. Then urgent news arrives. Regina is alive in Israel. Brown's team sees this as a legal threat to her leadership. Some call Regina unstable. They agree to stay united to stop her from taking over. Kimberly confronts President Brown in the hallway, questioning her position.
Oliver, stop it. We just found out about her. We don't even know what kind of shape she's in.
Brown stays calm, saying they'll figure it out. Agent 355 says she'll handle the pilots and get Yorick out of the Pentagon. Yorick doesn't like the plan, but she reminds them how important he is. Before leaving, Yorick argues with his mother about trusting Agent 355 and his photo on the wall. They hug and she says he can do this. She tells 355 to keep a low profile heading to Boston. 355 promises to protect him. At Nora's home, she tries to dig graves but changes her mind when a vulture shows up. She and her daughter leave in a car, with music playing on the radio for the first time in a long while.
The power's back?
At the Pentagon, Agent 355 plans to smuggle Yorick out in a body bag. They load him on a cart and escape with help from the pilots. President Brown works to secure a power plant. She speaks personally with the leader there, and the woman agrees to help. Brown later looks at the memorial wall. Kimberly joins her and mentions her mother thought she saw Yorick earlier. In a helicopter, Yorick and Agent 355 follow another chopper. Suddenly, it explodes and crashes. Agent 355 says they must keep going. Yorick watches in shock as they fly past the wreckage. Next, we see Agent 355 dreaming she's performing in a nightclub, singing and dancing with a man. The scene shifts. She walks barefoot through a forest and nearly falls off a cliff before snapping awake. In the woods, Yorick talks to her about Ampersand. He asks if she slept, but she changes the subject, saying their food must last. She learns survival skills in Iraq. She also admits Sarah isn't her real name, but won't share more. Yorick keeps asking, but she won't open up. Elsewhere, Hero and Sam find an untouched house. Hero remembers a horse trainer named Karen and her son Benji. Her mom had pushed her to make female friends, but she'd felt more at ease with animals. In a nearby barn, they find a working car. Sam wants to leave right away, but Hero says they should rest. Later, they relax by the fire. Hero says she was with Mike, her co-worker, when the disaster hit, but hides that she accidentally killed him. She fears her mom will sense she's lying. After Sam sleeps, Hero quietly walks to the barn. At the forest camp, Yorick watches a video of Beth. 355 returns from a run and tells him to give her his dirty clothes so she can wash them. He hesitates but hands them over, staying in his underwear. She gives him fresh clothes. Meanwhile, Hero hears Sam try to start the car, but it fails. Later, at a ransacked pharmacy, a ball rolls from the back room. They find a girl, Nora's daughter, hiding. As Hero checks her wound, Nora appears ready to attack, but calms down when Hero offers help.
Sam, can you try to find gauze, saline, anything?
She cleans the wound with alcohol and fresh bandages. They invite Nora and her daughter back to the house, though Sam clearly isn't happy about the delay. In the forest, 355 tries to hunt a rabbit but fails. When she returns, two strangers are rummaging through their tent, asking about the monkey.
Here.
Can I help you?
Yorick jumps in and scares them off with a stick. He then accuses 355 of killing the pilots. They argue and set some boundaries. Later, at a trade market, 355 tries to exchange goods for information. A woman tells her about a nearby group keeping order. Yorick thinks he sees Beth and chases her into an underground area. He's stopped by armed women. To avoid discovery, he pretends to be trans and says he's looking for hormones. Before things go wrong, 355 rescues him, and they escape in a shootout on a motorcycle. Yorick wants to go back for his phone, but 355 says no.
You need to grow the fuck up and do as you're told. Who are you?
They argue, but she promises to help find Beth after they meet the scientist. At the house, Hero and Sam settle in. Nora shares that it used to be a shelter. Hero lies, saying their names are Karen and Benji. Sam is upset but stays quiet. Hero tries to comfort him and even kisses him, but he pulls away. He then asks her what really happened to the car. Suddenly, armed riders arrive. They force everyone into the barn and demand help. Nora says Hero is a doctor. Hero performs emergency surgery while Sam is rejected from helping due to being trans. He's frustrated, but Hero finishes the procedure. Just then, a woman named Roxanne walks in and calmly shoots the injured woman. She then asks what Nora's daughter needs. Nora says antibiotics, and Roxanne agrees to let them stay. Before heading inside, Nora warns Hero not to tell anyone who her mother is. She reveals she once worked in the White House. As they walk deeper in, they discover this group lives inside a huge wholesale store turned into their own community. In the empty streets of Boston, near the ruins of Fenway Park, Agent 355 rides a motorcycle with Yorick and Ampersand. They pass graffiti filled with messages about racism and distrust in the government. After hiding the bike, they continue on foot. Yorick wonders what kind of person Dr. Allison Mann might be. More graffiti around them shows how broken society has become. A military tank rolls by, announcing orders. Agent 355 adjusts Yorick's mask and tells him to wait in the alley. She approaches a soldier and pretends she's clearing explosives nearby.
Sergeant Nash, 82nd Airborne.
Once inside, she convinces them to help her find Dr. Mann and learns that protesters have taken over Harvard and the Science Center is gone. Yorick, bored, sneaks into a nearby shop covered in anti-government posters. He takes a decorative ampersand and is caught by a woman who tells him to act like an ally if he really is one. Tear-gassed women rush in, and Yorick helps one of them by pouring milk in her eyes. Thinking he's one of them, the group offers him shelter and testosterone. He removes his mask and explains that he rescued Ampersand from a lab. They give him directions to a nearby safe house. 355 returns, and Yorick lies, saying nothing unusual happened. She tells him the lab they were searching for no longer exists. Back in Washington, President Brown talks about giving Senator Regina Oliver a role in government. Meanwhile, 355 and Yorick break into Dr. Mann's apartment and find a baby crib that wasn't in any files. They also find photos of a private club and head there. Yorick struggles with the lock, so 355 shoots it open. Inside, someone attacks Yorick. It's Dr. Mann.
Can you give me a hand? Can you just...
She immediately realizes Yorick and Ampersand are male and is shocked they're alive. 355 explains they came from the president and asks her to return to D.C., but Mann refuses. She wants to go west to her other lab in San Francisco to continue her cloning work. While Yorick's wound is treated, Mann and 355 argue. 355 wants Mann's help but doesn't trust her, and Mann doesn't trust the government. Yorick tries to lighten the mood, but it doesn't work. Later, 355 steps out, pretends to call the Pentagon, but breaks the phone's antenna instead. She lies and says she'll fix it, leaving Yorick and Mann together. At the Pentagon, Brown launches a campaign to fight misinformation. An aide tells her that a crashed helicopter was found, but no bodies. Some now believe Yorick and 355 are dead. Meanwhile, Kimberly notices blood from Christine, who is secretly pregnant.
Is it a boy?
We'll need a blood test to know for sure, but...
355 visits a mansion tied to her hidden past. Inside, another agent, 525, pulls a gun on her. They realize they were sent by the same person and lower their weapons. 525 shares gear and says if she finds the person responsible for everything, she'll kill them and be free. She suggests 355 consider doing the same. Back at the club, Yorick and Mann bond over drinks. He asks about the crib, but Mann avoids the question and reflects on everything lost. She tells him surviving doesn't mean life will be normal. Suddenly, 355 returns and says they're leaving for San Francisco, claiming the president approved it. In a small, quiet town lit by candles and soft singing, Yorick, Agent 355, and Dr. Mann join a crowd holding a ceremony for the men who've died. The peaceful mood doesn't last long. 3 bikers are secretly following them from a distance. Agent 355 realizes the danger when she sees people handing out flyers with her face on them. Knowing they've been recognized, she quickly leads Yorick and Dr. Mann to an abandoned church for safety. Inside, she quietly admits that she never actually contacted President Brown. The radio lines had been too busy with military traffic. She plans to protect Yorick and Dr. Mann by facing the danger alone, giving them time to rest. Later, while Yorick and Mann sleep, Agent 355 keeps watch from a balcony. Her face shows deep sadness, and her mind seems unsettled. When Yorick wakes and sees her standing near the edge, he gently pulls her back. She had been sleepwalking, lost in her thoughts. Meanwhile, Hero, Sam, Nora, and others are living under the protection of Roxanne's armed group of women. Though the group claims to protect the weak, they now turn away a group of new survivors looking for help. Despite once being victims of abuse, Roxanne's people now use fear and control, just like those they once escaped. Nora takes a bold step and asks to speak with Roxanne privately. She tells her about her past as a political advisor and says she has a good sense of people. Roxanne, who was once a detective, warns Nora to let go of her old life and fully commit to the group. If Nora wants to belong, she has to prove it with action.
You gotta step all the way in, show us that you're on board.
That night, the group holds a strange ritual to welcome a new member. Nora takes part in the ceremony, showing she's ready to leave her old identity behind and fully join them. Elsewhere, Agent 355 waits quietly by a campfire, knowing the soldiers are getting close. What she doesn't know is that the soldiers are still in contact with President Brown and are secretly sending her updates. This proves the government still has working communication, despite earlier claims. Later, Agent 355 and Dr. Mann face the soldiers in the woods and manage to fight them off. During the fight, one soldier sees Yorick's face. Though 355 wins, she hides the fact Yorick was seen and lets that soldier live. Yorick, scared and overwhelmed, tries to run away but gets caught. He apologizes, but 355 is too angry to forgive him easily.
I'm not gonna cut her laces. Burn the shoes, slow them down.
Before they leave, she tells Yorick to cut the shoelaces from the soldiers' boots and burn them so they can't follow. Then she smashes a radio, cutting off the soldiers' contact with the Pentagon. Back in Washington, tensions rise as President Brown and Regina argue. A power struggle is clearly beginning. Meanwhile, in the large store where Roxanne's group lives, Nora hears crying in the night. She quietly follows the sound. She finds Laura and 2 others confronting Kelsey in a dark corner. They accuse Kelsey of being disloyal because she spoke privately with Sam. Laura gives Nora a strange, cold smile. Then, without warning, they begin beating Kelsey. Nora watches in silence, finally seeing just how dangerous this group truly is. Ampersand quietly watches the bodies of a man and dog nearby, while Agent 355 gathers gasoline from a car. Dr. Mann checks Yorick's condition and confirms he's okay. Yorick tries to get her to make peace with Sarah so they can work together better. The group finds an old RV and heads toward San Francisco. On the road, Yorick talks about his magic skills. Mann ties his wrists to see if he can escape.
I will not be able to get out of this.
Good, it's important that you believe that.
Agent 355 grows tired behind the wheel and crashes the RV into a tree. When Mann wakes up, she's hurt but alive. Yorick is unconscious, and Agent 355 is missing. Mann goes outside and sees jeeps approaching. Hoping for help, she waves them down, but instead she's surrounded and captured. In Washington, President Brown is told a soldier spotted a man. She downplays it, but when the soldier mentions a monkey, she quickly ends the talk and quietly reassigns her. Elsewhere, Kimberly vents to her mother, Marla, angry about Brown's popularity. Marla suggests they relax and watch old shows. Meanwhile, Yorick wakes up in a strange house beside an unfamiliar woman. He hears Ampersand and grabs a trophy, preparing to fight. But in the kitchen, he finds several women and Ampersand in a cage. They question him about how he survived. Yorick says he doesn't know. They ask about the women he was with, and he explains they crashed during a magic trick. In the woods, Agent 355 wakes from a dream filled with painful memories. She's locked in a room. Dr. Mann bangs on the door, panicking.
Anybody? Come on!
She explains armed people took Yorick and they were outnumbered. Sarah blames herself. Back in D.C., President Brown gives a speech about buses coming for those who want to leave the city. She spots Beth in the crowd and lets her in. In private, Beth says she woke up in a medical tent and walked back home, but couldn't enter her apartment. She and Brown talk about Yorick, but Brown doesn't admit she knows where he is. Meanwhile, Senator Oliver meets with Kimberly and Marla. He shares that a soldier saw a man with a monkey. Marla drops her glass, shaken. At the farmhouse, Yorick is still held by the group. One woman mentions Beth. He admits she's his girlfriend but doesn't know where she is. More women arrive, calling themselves a welcoming committee. Sarah removes her shoelace, ready to use it as a weapon. She tells Mann most of the women seem to be former prisoners and warns her not to influence Yorick. She says everyone who knew her real identity is gone. Her family died when she was 12. Yorick is brought into the room and tells them about the women in their home. Sarah fears they'll be killed, but Yorick isn't so sure.
They are going to kill us.
No,
Back in Washington, Kimberly tells Oliver she wants more than just power. She thinks Yorick could help bring men back. Marla's disturbed. Later, Beth refuses to wear the president's jacket. She only came to see someone who once loved Yorick. At night, Yorick helps Sarah to bed. She warns him again not to trust anyone. Outside, he chats with the same woman from earlier. They talk about escape tricks, prison, and second chances. Later, Kimberly finds her mother missing. She runs to the rooftop and finds Marla has chosen to end this horror voluntarily. Her screams echo through the building. Outside the Pentagon, Beth climbs into a van and says the place is full of power and food, but it wouldn't take much to destroy it. Roxanne chases after a woman named Kate, urging her to return to the Price Max store.
Kate, just listen to me.
Stay away from me!
No, just stop.
When Kate runs, Roxanne shoots her in the back. She stops her, but immediately feels regret and frustration, yelling at herself as she walks back to the store. Later, Roxanne leads a shooting practice session outside. The women aim at mannequins, learning to shoot. Hero joins in and impresses Roxanne with her skills. Roxanne pushes the message that women don't need men anymore. Sam watches, but doesn't join.
We're stronger than they told us we were.
Hero encourages him, and Roxanne makes him hold a gun, even though he feels uncomfortable. Inside, Nora watches her daughter, Mackenzie, play. A woman hints they might be asked to leave. Nora demands to know why. Roxanne later confirms it, saying they just don't fit anymore. Nora begs, saying it's unsafe outside.
You'll find a group where you fit in.
This is what, your intuition? You had a dream or something?
In a flashback, Roxanne pretends to be a police officer and convinces women at a shelter to follow her, saying the shelter is unsafe and promising a better place. In the present, Roxanne leads a group talk against male control. When Sam quietly jokes to Hero, Roxanne gets upset and asks about her family. Hero says her father was kind and her brother Yorick understood her. Roxanne questions that, trying to plant doubt.
How do you treat your mom?
He loved her. He respected her.
But
Nora later tells Sam they should leave. He doesn't trust her. She warns that supplies will run out. Sam walks off. He tells Hero they should find a place of their own, calling Roxanne's group a cult. Hero says he should try to make the best of it, even start something with Kelsey. They argue and Sam almost begs her to leave everything behind and come with him.
You've got me. I've got you.
No, you don't.
Roxanne interrupts. Hero apologizes. Sam walks away. That night, Sam packs to leave. Roxanne catches him, but lets him go, telling him to leave before others wake up. He walks into the night. In another memory, Roxanne burns bodies, finds a police car, and follows a horse to the shelter. Back in the present, Roxanne comforts Hero after Sam's departure. She says her own husband left her too and claims men always leave. At a bonfire, she asks Hero to burn Sam's blanket to show she's moved on. The group dances around the fire. Nora watches. Later, she tells Mackenzie she wants to leave. Mackenzie refuses. Nora scolds her, then feels bad. That night, Nora pours lighter fluid from the fire toward the store and lights it. The building catches fire, and chaos breaks out.
The building is on fire! We have to get outside, right now!
Another memory shows Roxanne finding the Price Max store. She sees two women fight and kill each other. Then she shoots two more who arrive later. Now Roxanne walks through the burned store. Nora joins her and calmly speaks up. She says Roxanne can't lead just by being angry at men. She gives Roxanne a list of demands and threatens to reveal her secrets if she doesn't come clean.
It's smart.
Why would I need you?
Because I know how to get them to stay.
A final flashback shows Roxanne as a Price Max worker. After reporting a man for bad behavior, her boss blames her instead and writes her up. Later, Hero sits with Kelsey, who reads her palm and says she's meant to help others. Hero doesn't agree, but stays quiet. Finally, Roxanne speaks to the group about her past cancer and praises the Amazons. She says now is their time.
You ever heard of the Amazons? Warrior women.
Nora watches and quietly slips Roxanne's old employee badge into her coat pocket. Agent 355 starts her day with intense training outside the farmhouse. As she pushes herself, memories from her childhood begin to surface. Inside, Yorick and Dr. Mann are surprised to learn the women in the house, all former prisoners, celebrate birthdays every Saturday to keep some joy alive. When 355 returns, Yorick invites her to dance. She hesitates but eventually agrees, and they dance together.
What was that?
All right, don't hurt yourself.
During the party, Dr. Mann questions one of the women, but is brushed off. Later, a woman tells 355 she found a tracker in their RV. She suggests Yorick should know, but 355 secretly keeps it. Yorick walks in with marijuana and leads the woman outside, unaware of the situation. More memories from Sarah's past appear, mostly about her mother. Elsewhere, Hero explores the Hall of Voices, where recordings of men play on speakers. Outside, she meets Athena and tells her the place is unguarded. Athena informs Roxanne, who sees it as a shrine to men, and convinces Nora to help her destroy it. The group attacks what turns out to be the Museum of Men, tearing apart supplies and relics. Nora is disturbed, especially when Roxanne smashes a sound system that could have been traded. Roxanne walks off happy. Nora grows more uneasy. At the Pentagon, Regina talks to a soldier who doubts President Brown. Kimberly, still grieving her mother, sits quietly. Regina tells her to stay focused. Kimberly fixates on a piece of glass on the floor. Meanwhile, Beth and her rebel group blow open a tunnel to enter the Pentagon. Upstairs, Christine tells Brown she misses vegetables. Brown gives her canned oranges. Christine then reveals she's pregnant. They're interrupted by soldiers calling Brown to a meeting. There, Kimberly and Regina accuse Brown of hiding Yorick. Kimberly blames her for her mother's death. Brown admits Yorick was with Agent 355 and Dr. Mann. A soldier claims she had two pilots killed, but Brown denies it.
2 American helicopter pilots were murdered on your orders.
That's not true.
Still, Regina declares Brown removed and places her in protective custody. As the rebels advance, the power goes out. They catch up with the leaders and take them hostage. Beth signals Brown to keep quiet about knowing her. Later, Hero finds out that others know about the man she accidentally killed, a secret she told only Roxanne. Nora warns her not to trust Roxanne and admits she used to lash out at her husband too. That anger, she says, helped her survive. Inside, the rebels argue over who's the real president. A gunshot quiets the room. Documents and a photo of Yorick are burned. Regina blames Brown again.
She killed 2 soldiers to keep it quiet!
Back at the farmhouse, Sonia gives Yorick a massage while telling him how they escaped prison. Dr. Mann tells 355 about her old experiments and a woman she loved. 355 remembers being praised in her training and later destroys the tracker. Back in the Pentagon, gas pours in. Beth grabs Brown and escapes. Kimberly kills an attacker with a shard of glass to save Christine. Roxanne plans to hunt down surviving men. Nora learns Yorick was seen with 355. She pretends to support Roxanne and says they're close to finding him.
This one first.
Enough with the apologies, Nora.
No, you're right.
Meanwhile, Beth walks beside Brown and finally asks her for the truth about Yorick. Before the collapse, the Browns had a quiet dinner. Jennifer, her husband Hero Yorick, and Beth sat together as Yorick excitedly described an escape act using his family as symbols. Jennifer called it creative, but Hero mocked it, reminding him of their privileged upbringing. Elsewhere, Agent 355 lay on a road, confused by a vision of her guardian, which turned into a stranger. She stood and walked off. Nearby, Nora and Roxanne rode through the woods toward the town where Yorick's group was hiding. In a greenhouse, Dr. Mann and Sarah talked about extinction. Mann noticed Sarah's sleepwalking had returned. Sarah said she used a sandbag to prevent it and suggested they leave soon, though Mann hesitated.
We're talking like people.
Look, the longer we stay here, the more danger he's in.
Meanwhile, Roxanne's group scouted the town. Yorick opened up to Sonia, admitting Beth was his only relationship. Sarah soon told him they'd leave in the morning. At a pool, Roxanne and Nora shared their plan. Two armed women interrupted, warning that the president had been killed. Roxanne's group scared them off, but Hero was shaken, recalling that dinner where Beth mentioned moving to Australia. Jennifer praised her, while her husband stayed glued to his phone. In the present, Beth took Jennifer to her old home. Jennifer refused to cut her hair as a disguise, but Beth told her staying put was dangerous.
Lots been going on since you locked yourself up in your little fortress, okay?
At the farmhouse, Yorick and Sarah prepared to leave. Yorick compared her to his mom, which annoyed her. They argued about staying, but Mann arrived with news of a farewell party. Back in the dinner flashback, Hero revealed she'd been seeing a married man. Jennifer and her husband disapproved. Hero accused her dad of cheating too and asked Yorick to back her up, but he stayed quiet. Jennifer whispered something to Hero and left the table. In the present, Beth tased an intruder, only to discover it was Sam. He warned that someone was watching the house. Lights came on and people banged on doors. A voice demanded they come out. Hero and Nora talked about their relationships with Jennifer, but Roxanne cut them off, focusing on the celebration before their attack. At the farewell party, Mann admitted doubts to Sarah, who urged her to try anyway. Yorick and Sonia grew closer, and she confessed to a past crime.
No, I'll miss you guys too.
Yorick decides he does care about her past, and they spend the rest of the night romantically. Early in the morning, Mackenzie got up and went to the locker room. Nora followed and saw a blood-stained towel. They shared a quiet moment, and Nora gave her wedding ring to Mackenzie, asking her to stay strong. At the Pentagon, Kimberly woke from a dream about Yorick and told Christine she had a plan, they just needed to find him. At the house, Yorick and Sonia woke up, while Dr. Mann and Agent 355 shared a calm morning. Sarah noticed a new tracking device by the window and panicked. It was like the one she had destroyed before. Outside, Roxanne's group attacked on horseback. One woman tried to talk but was shoved down. Another stood up to them, and Roxanne demanded Yorick or else. Inside, Agent 355 heard gunfire and told Yorick to hide. She stepped outside with the trans man, pretending he was Yorick.
Start walking. Somebody wants to meet you.
In the woods, Hero searched while chaos erupted. Sarah faked an injury to ambush attackers. Nora found Mackenzie Warren, who insisted on fighting. Nora let her take a gun. Yorick, Mann, and Sonia ran. Hero chased but stopped when she saw Yorick. Sonia shot Hero's arm. Yorick helped her up, and she warned him their mother was dead and he was in danger. Suddenly, Sonia was shot in the head. Panicked, Hero told Yorick to run or she'd shoot him. A flashback showed Hero hugging Sam after dinner, while Yorick leaves her in disappointment. Back in the battle, Agent 355 fought while Nora held a dying woman, realizing the violence had gone too far. Sarah shot Roxanne's followers one by one. Roxanne's gun jammed, and as Sarah aimed at her, Nora stepped in and surrendered. Roxanne stormed off. Later, Nora wrecked the locker room in frustration. Hero found her and revealed Yorick was alive. When Roxanne returned to challenge her, Nora exposed her lies, revealing she once worked in politics and saw through manipulators like Roxanne. When Roxanne tried to have her taken, Nora shot her.
You don't have the guts.
The others aimed at Nora, but she stayed calm, telling them they didn't need a leader, they could choose their own way. Elsewhere, Mann, Agent 355, and Yorick reunited. Yorick shared that Hero was brainwashed and their mother was dead. He confessed he sometimes wished he died. Sarah told a story about a childhood crash that shaped her and said Yorick could survive this too. With no president left, 355 said she had no orders anymore. Yorick asked her to train him. She agreed. At a holding room, Brown, Beth, and Sam noticed a camera. Far away, the woman who raised Sarah watched and asked to be alerted when Sarah moved. Later, Sarah followed a new tracker to a ready car. Inside was a map. Someone had left it for them. As they drove away, the camera rose, leaving the road and farm behind as the story came to a quiet end.